I've hit the go live button.
Oh, there we go. Yes, it shows that we are live on my end as well. Whew.
Can you see it? Can you see us?
I mean,
Can you hear us?
I see me. That's all we need, right?
All right. Fantastic. Welcome, everybody, to LangTime Studio. For those who have tuned in the past 2 weeks, I'm feeling a lot better. I have been making very incremental improvement, so incremental that it appears sometimes that I wasn't better at all the next day, sometimes worse. And then basically, between not last night, but the night before that and yesterday, I improved 1,000,000,000%. And so I am feeling really, really good. I do want to, I think, raise a little bit of awareness about this illness that we had, because I'm more and more convinced that Jessie is right. This is an illness that me and my sister had, and basically it's unidentifiable. It's not COVID, it's not flu, it's not strep throat. It's just something. And it appears to be really awful, and it stays with you, and it doesn't go away for a while. Anyway, they don't know what it is, and it super sucks. But some other news for those who weren't on our Discord. As you may be aware, we were going to go to England. Not due to illness, but certainly helping out the fact that I had this terrible illness. We realized at literally the 11th hour after we checked in that the times that we were going to the set didn't make sense, because we would have been there for the rest of filming this week for this movie, for 4 days of filming that featured either none of our dialogue or no dialogue at all. And so it kind of would have been wasted time. Anyway, this was realized at the 11th hour. A bunch of jumbling happened, and our trip was shifted to Saturday. And so yeah, luckily I've been able to stay here and recuperate, which is good, because I am much more looking forward to a flight to England on Saturday than I would have been on Monday. That would have been awful. So that's good. But it does. So it means that we have our regular stream this week. It means we're not going to have a stream next week and not the week afterwards. And so season 7 is going to be postponed until the beginning of February. Yeah. Also, for some other fun announcement news, I am going to do this and take a look at what you see on the screen. Hey, it's Jonathan's mouse house.
Oh, yay, yes.
Yeah.
I totally saw what I already knew was there, so I was like, what's David going to show us?
Yeah. So for the past, I don't know how many weeks, since we changed what we were streaming, or like how we were streaming on OBS, you've just seen a black background back there rather than our desktop image, which was Jonathan's mouse house. Anyway, I realized I could fix that by just dropping an actual JPEG of the thing as the very last layer. And so now whenever I have to go between windows, you'll see something cute and nice. Anyway. All right. Oh yeah, there's a couple different mouse houses that Jonathan did. This is the exterior of the mouse house. There's also the interior of the mouse house. I'll change it out periodically.
As one should,
yeah,
because they're both amazing.
Okay, so Jessie, the essay prompt for this week was, what if massage and sausage rhymed? And we didn't put any restrictions on it, whether it was massage or sausage. You could take either route. That was the essay prompt. So if you want to go ahead and elicit some of the responses and take us through it.
What about message and sausage?
That's a different essay topic.
Different?
Well, unless somebody brought it up. Could you imagine
message, sausage? Or then again, it would just be massage again, like if it rhymed with sausage the other way.
Yeah, and I think that massage was chosen because it has the same phonological vowel, right? First, rather than message, which has a different one.
I don't know, but one is spelled A-U and one is spelled A.
Yeah, it's.
I mean,
I think those two are closer. They have a higher degree of togetherativity than
Really?
E and A.
there's no genre for you?
That's a nasalized vowel, though, historically.
But genre. I mean, spelled with an E. Ensemble.
It's the Missouri pronunciation, Genry.
No. I'm telling you you're wrong, and you're just like, I'm gonna argue with you. That's all. Anyway.
Ooh, in the tundra, the tundra.
It'd be miss. But no, we've had 0 submissions, probably because we forgot to open the portals for submissions.
Oh, the submission portal.
Yeah. It was never opened, so no Dropbox.
That's my fault.
All right.
Okay.
So,
I've missed all of
David.
chat. Moose woos. That's cute. Poetry.
David. You don't argue, you inform. Oh, Carl, you are being kind. My argumentative husband over here. Informative husband, sorry.
I sometimes speak out of turn.
Okay. Excuse the little coughs there.
Oh, also, just a mild curiosity. We have the microphone turned the opposite way. It's supposed to be in the setting where it gets things in front and behind it equally. Do you hear me differently and Jessie differently, or do we sound pretty much the same? I'd hope we'd sound the same.
And thank you, Jake. Thank you. Also, as a little update, and I know people on Discord have seen Jake posting hey, do you want to be in this relay that's coming up? Now's the time to really make the choice because it's happening. In a bit of news, can't tell the difference.
Nice.
And hi, Rogolf. In a bit of news, I have finally finished my starter text for Ring 2. So Jake will be doing a ring and I will be doing another ring. So depending on which ring you're placed in, you will get the branch of one of our languages. It's the same English text that we were working from. It's just, we each translated it into our languages. And I finally finished mine, which resulted in a whole lot of upgrade work on Juari, including, I had just missed some key grammatical forms and constructions that, kind of basic, and that you would think if you have a working language that you've done several translations in, you probably already have these forms. And I did not. Apparently, I've translated some really complex things, just not some other simple things. And so, a lot of grammar, a lot of words added, a lot of words I hadn't even considered. And I'm so excited. And I can't wait for David to participate in the relay and for it to finish so then I can talk to him about all the words I've created in Juari, because I've created some fun stuff. But I can't tell anyone because I don't want to key anyone into what the text is about. So here I sit.
By the way,
at some point, Jake, I'm going to pull you aside when we're visiting you and just be like, listen to all the things I did, because you're the only one who can know. Okay, anyway, go on.
So to George, I will say that for me, one of my personal William Annis argument highlight was, I've done this twice, when I got William to say, well, maybe morpheme theory is good for some languages like Turkish and not for others, which to me is tantamount to saying I lost. I completely lost the argument. I have admitted that morphemic theory is bunk because the moment that you say, well, maybe a universal theory works for some language and not others, means that the theory is done.
Yeah.
It's defeated. Anyway.
All right, David.
How interesting. No, I had not heard Dark Horse mentioned Grand Theft Hamlet, which was Grand Theft Hamlet, which was Hamlet filmed in Grand Theft Auto. This is an example of what I was telling you about the other day. This would be an example of machinima, basically filming some kind of cinema using video game software.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And I will say that is, so David Lynch died is what Miles just posted.
Yeah.
And so sorry to hear that. But Jonathan, I did say yeah to that because anyone claiming to have a universal theory of linguistics, really, you can't have one unless it really does work for every language and work in a way that it's not like generative grammar. I'll just write a loophole for the loophole to make it so English is the deep structure and every other language goes in this other thing. So anyway, that's what I was saying yeah to. I'm not verifying or denying any reference to morphemes. I try to limit it when I work with David just because. But you know, I'm not in on that debate. I don't care what we call it. We just need to be able to talk about word pieces, and that's that. But yeah, universal theories. Ugh. It best cover all those languages if you're going to call it universal.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, regarding David Lynch, I mentioned this briefly on Blue Sky, but I don't know if people know this. But I don't know why, but like I had heard of Twin Peaks, certainly growing up. I mean, because it was at the moment, it was like the biggest show on television, which is wild because at the same time, like in that same window, we also had Cheers, Seinfeld, and The Simpsons, but Twin Peaks was like the biggest show at the time. I'd never watched it because, like, I think I came across like a piece of an episode once and I saw something that frightened me, which makes sense. Given the series. And so I didn't watch it. For whatever reason, I found it online in 2009. I don't know if it was on YouTube or somewhere else, but I found it online. And I started watching it as my kind of... I needed something when I was working on my Dothraki proposal. Because I really was working on it between 14 and 18 hours a day, just working on nothing but Dothraki. So I needed something, and so I started watching Twin Peaks, which felt a little bizarre. It felt a little shameful because I was like, there had just been so much said about it. Anyway, so I started watching it, and that was basically when and how I experienced Twin Peaks for the first time. And, experienced this sensation, which I think a lot of people who watch Twin Peaks have, or other David Lynch films, where it's like at certain points, it could be broad daylight outside with all the lights on, and still you find yourself trying to kind of back away from the screen in horror because you can't believe what you're seeing. Anyway, completely changed my life, blew me away. And that's why I was so excited when another big Conlang moment for me. Of all things, I had gotten to do this summer course up at UC Berkeley to teach language creation. 6-week summer course. And literally, the day that I flew up to Berkeley before the day of my first class was the day that the first 4 episodes of season 3 of Twin Peaks were released. And like I had to get to sleep because it was a really big, important day for me. So I only watched 2 of the 4, but maybe I watched 3. But yeah, it certainly felt that moment again, especially as the thing in the dark box comes out. Woo! For those who've seen Twin Peaks season 3 or The Return, you'll know.
David, can I ask you to go to the naming section in Sarkezhe?
Let's go to the naming section.
Where we've been working.
Yeah.
I just need to see your document on the screen.
There's got to be a good way to do this.
You can join me in the document.
That's a good way to do this.
Or you can just keep scrolling.
All right.
What do you see? I'm waiting for YouTube to catch up. Yours is fine. Mine has turned to question marks. Every star and symbol has turned into a question mark.
Well, that's not good.
No, because those are like built into the system. They
Yeah,
are
those
not.
are Unicode points.
They are not added. So I'm gonna shut that. I may end up needing to totally quit Pages and try again. I mean, I guess it doesn't super matter for the time being, but I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't all of Mac. It is just me, and it is indeed just me. Okay, so David, let's focus in. Let's try to name some more cats.
I do want to mention that the Let's Have a Booba has moved. It's no longer Wednesdays at 1:30 p.m. Pacific. It is Tuesdays at 1:30 p.m. Pacific. So be sure to catch that every week. Tuesdays, 1:30 Pacific. Let's Have a Booba. Okay, so we have both the healers and the bards come from the same house.
Also, shout out to Madeline James Wright, who is here today. It's very exciting.
What?
She's here today, watching, commenting.
We're not on our best behavior.
Are you ever, David?
Where is she? Oh my God, there she is. Holy smoke. There's a comment.
I mean, if Bibloridian can't even rein you in.
It's a little intimidating. Wait a minute, she's been here before because she's commenting that I may be slightly quieter.
I think from today, I think is her first Thursday that she's here.
Really?
Yeah. I think than what had been before. Anyway.
You never expect best behavior. That's very kind of you. Also very realistic. So the only names that we have left to do are the cats from house, whichever animal that is. It is the lynx. Is that right?
I think so. Let me double check though.
Yeah. That's the one where that lynx. It's almost Gillar worthy, where it's vowel harmony, but it ends up not harmonic at all, and so it's just a bunch of garbage. It's close to that uku with a hiss, uku with a hiss, uku with a hiss, uku with a hiss. It's not that bad, but it's a little bridge between the rounded back vowels and the fronted unround vowels. It's a little bridge.
Okay, so bards and healers.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that there's two bards.
It's only because of the expansion, right?
Is it?
I think so.
Oh, let's double check. Wait, expansion 1. Wait, I need the stats. Yes, you're right. Okay, that's good. Okay, it's only because of the expansion. There was only one bard in the original. That makes sense. Okay. And since I've stopped sharing the desktop and only share pages, what you don't see is that I was jumping over to Safari. I do have an idea. I want to try this idea.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is this an idea for what we're going to see, or is it an idea for the language?
It is an idea for what we're going to see. Tell me,
Okay.
do you see Safari on screen?
I'm waiting for it to catch up just in case. No, I saw you mouth those words, and no, I see pages.
Oh, never mind. My grand idea does not work. Wait, hold on a sec. Right.
As David's doing that,
Never mind.
Carl,
Never mind.
the voice and the mind behind Neography A to Z.
Oh yeah.
What do you have a regular schedule of video releases, or is it more like just, like when you have one, you have one? I just want to make sure people know you do have that new series out, and they can check you out on YouTube.
Yeah, thanks for that, because I completely forgot. Carl Buck is the conlanger with whom I created Sung Haley for the Halo series, which a little ironic, because I think both Carl and I, one of the things we're best at is creating writing systems, and we could not persuade them to use a writing system that we created. They wanted to use one of the 3 I think they had created for Sung Haley previously in the video game, none of which are any good. But so be it. Carl has created a YouTube channel where he's releasing reviews of conscripts, of created scripts, but it's not a live stream. It's just a channel. So check out Neography A to Z.
And a new episode is coming out tomorrow on Klingon, and then every 2 weeks on Friday. So tomorrow is Klingon, and then 2 weeks after that will be something new.
Right on.
Yay. Okay.
Best of luck with the regular schedule. I certainly couldn't keep to it for the Art of Language Invention, so I never promised it. And then I just stopped doing it.
See, that's what happens when you don't have a regular schedule, though. It gets pushed. But,
I wouldn't have stuck to a regular schedule.
I love you.
Yeah, I love you too.
All right. So, David, what are you thinking for these names? Everyone, if you recall, really what we need is just a single word that will stand as a name, because we've already got the clan names done. The final, the middle piece is their birth order. And so that's a little bit easier, because it's like we're picking from one of 6 options, really. And so that's easier. It's that final one that is unique, and that is their first name. And so
it might be cute if, we do have a word for, we have a word for yowl or to screech or to scream.
We do, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what we should do for our 2-star bard, our expansion bard. It should just be Yowler. Sumu.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm on board with that. And I will say that people are saying that the only reason LTS has a schedule is because of me, but I do want to give a shout out that this was actually your idea in the first place in terms of the regular streams. And we did have a regular schedule that was going to be messed up really frequently, but then COVID hit, and
yeah,
we were both home all day, every day.
I'll mention that I look at it 2 ways. Either you have a regular schedule and no pre-planned content, or pre-planned content and no regular schedule. That's how
you can't do both.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so the 2-star bard we're getting, on my document it's the 2 question mark bard.
Still? You closed it and opened it again?
Well, I closed the document and opened it again. I need to completely shut down Pages, I think, but I need to first check what else is open, and that's going to be a whole thing. So for the time being, I'm just going to look at question marks.
Oh.
And so...
Natalie's playing Zelda, and she just picked up something called Icy Meat.
Wait, icy or icy?
No, icy.
Like cold, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. All right.
And also as a side note, in 2 weeks, so Klingon is tomorrow, Tokipona is the next released, which is going to be...
Carl, it doesn't mean anything
at the end of the month.
Unless you're reviewing the many writing systems. You're reviewing writing systems, not languages, right? There are like 7 different writing systems for Tokipona. Are you reviewing them all at once? Should be one at a time.
That could be fun. Okay, so this bard, do you have any character references, guides that we can consider for birth order, David?
It's got to be not first. In other
Okay.
words, this is going to be one of the younger cats in the litter that was just born yowling.
I'm feeling 4, but I got to see what 4 is looking like. Oh, that one's the Yag form.
I like it.
Then Yag, whatever that full form comes out. I think it's
Yarongos. Yarongos. There we go.
Okay. We got a bard name. Tell us more about this bard as you do your little type up. Tell us what you're typing.
Yeah, I wish that I wish we could show what I was focusing on without showing the desktop.
I don't know how to do that.
I don't either. Because whichever one you stack on top, that's just the one you see all the time. Okay, characters. Here we go. Cats. There's the bard. 2-star bard. Born yelling. Her parents called her Sumu. Yowler as a joke, and it's stuck. Determined to shake things up in the
My God.
traditional world.
I totally heard you say.
Cat music.
I totally heard you say determined to jake things up.
Nice.
Gotta jake it up.
Sumu is challenging the prevailing winds of the prevailing something. Well, it's just strains of cat musical history.
I was gonna say of like music tradition or something. That was the word there.
Cat musicology. There we go.
Musicology. Ooh.
Man, I can't wait till we get to dancers. Then finally we can tap into the lore of the Cats film. That changed everything
God.
for all of us.
And then we can have.
We were watching Cats and Jessie fell asleep right
did.
before the Idris Elba reveal. She still hasn't seen it.
No.
She still hasn't seen it.
At this point, I have to watch the whole thing over again because I promised you, like, I was falling asleep hardcore the whole movie, which means, like, I actually don't remember quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm so happy that we saw that in the theater. I don't think that there's... that we saw it in the theater first. I don't think there's another way to experience it appropriately.
Yeah.
Oh, Dark Horse actually has an interesting idea, something we could play with, that one of the healers could be something to do with licking, because the cats lick to clean, and it could be about healing and, tending to wounds.
That's a really nice idea.
And so, oh yeah, Jessie here in chat said, I tried to watch that movie, just couldn't. Yeah, I'll try again at some point.
I don't think that there's such a thing as a movie that's just, so bad that you can't watch it. There are times where there's, especially with older movies, certain movies that breach a certain level of offense that you can't watch it. But no, not a movie that's so bad you can't watch it. There's an element of fun to it. It's the reason why The Room enjoys so much theater success nowadays. I will say, regarding, movies watched in the theater commonly, I still haven't seen Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I have not either.
I feel like I gotta watch that at some point.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Really?
Ever?
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Oh.
Okay, now here's the strange thing. Natalie, you know my friend Ash, the tall one?
Yeah.
You probably never met any members of his family, but
Nope.
they
I don't think so.
he was like the youngest of like 8 children. Like when we were in junior high school, all of his siblings were adults. It's the kind of age gap that you and I have.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, his entire extended family would get together on Thanksgiving, and one of their Thanksgiving traditions was to watch as a family Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Huh. Interesting.
Very conservative family.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. No idea. No clue.
So David's talking to his sister. Somebody's like, who's back there talking?
Yeah.
And so yeah, David's sister is here right now and joining in on the cats love and
Yeah.
Shout out cats.
and movie conversations. David, I had a kind of funny idea.
Cat is slick. Yeah.
So we can move forward with that. But the other part, I was like, looking for words that we had that may go into like, oh, they're kind of a budding musician even from birth. And one of the words we have related to music is drum, to thud. And like, I'm like, oh my God, imagine this like 4-star bard whose like instrument of choice is some type of drum. And it just, because all the bards in my head that I've drawn so far for you or that I've done anything with have been like stringed instruments and things like that. But I was like, what if just walking around with this little drum and they're singing along.
I like this because it inspires dance.
It
Also,
does.
you know, cats like the sound of... they like to hear the sound of themselves hitting things. Really
That's
like-
true.
I really like this idea. So lick is care, which is proto root is Q, bardi R.
Okay.
Oh wait, let me
Yeah.
see which one. Let me see which R. It's the regular trill.
Apparently the drum is a D&D trope for bards.
No,
Okay.
it's not.
Well, according
Get
to
outta
Mateus, D&D stands for Dutch and drum. Sorry, Mateus.
There's if the drum is a bard D&D trope, then there is no such thing as a non-trope in D&D. Everything is a trope, which makes nothing a trope. So out with you. All right.
All right, David.
Uh-huh.
What you doing there?
I'm looking at drum. Good, it comes from thud, which is... Why is that spelled like that? Oh, wait. Right, because K and I are very similar.
Yes.
When something hits it.
And then to make something thud, so the act of thudding things
Oh, right.
is
It
a secondary
thuds.
meaning.
The, It thuds, right? The drum thuds.
Yeah.
Got it. Oh my god. Hell with it. Kiki.
Oh, David.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Love it.
We have a cat named Kiki.
Alright, where is...
So David introduced me to Kiki's delivery service. We watched that this year, in fact, was when I saw it.
No, last year. There
Well-
hasn't been much of this year.
Well, calendar, like 12 months from, backwards from today. Within that 12-month span, we watched it. But yes, it was 2024. And so I love it.
Oh my god.
We do need a booba.
Hang on a sec. There's a 2-star bard, 4th born, named Sumu. There's a 2-star archer, 4th born, named Numu.
There's something to it.
Yeah.
If your name is Umu, you're never getting past that 2-star,
They're star-crossed. They're going to be friends. They're going to become friends. They're going to be enemies that are going to become friends. I like this.
Numu and Sumu.
Oh, this is incredible.
That is incredible.
All right.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me of something I need to tell Jake that I can't tell you yet.
Oh, wait, this wasn't... Oh wait, no, this was the part. We're still doing like. Okay.
Jake, I just made a note to myself to send you a message about something funny. One of those moments in conlanging where like you come up with a protoform, you put on its relevant affixes, you run it through all the sound changes, and suddenly you look at the modern form and you go, I can't believe that's the word for this. Almost screwy, not quite, but really funny, and I will be excited to tell everybody about it. But for now, Jake's going to hear about it. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Jake, imagine if we had our initial Joe, we could have Gigi. It's the closest you can get to that in cat.
Not super, because wasn't my name just a yeah?
Oh, by the way,
Jessie. Yeah, I was a yeah.
the Graham, who created LangTime, did the most random thing. We could have Yee. Did the most random thing. I don't know. There was just some chat happening in our Discord, and somebody posted a meme with Shiba Inu that said, it just said, Doge intensifies. I don't know why. Graham uploaded a thing where it was some electronic voice that read it phonetically. And so it was like this weird little female voice. It was like, Doge intensifies.
It must have been based on, because like if you have a reader that's reading you text.
Yeah.
It must have been based on that. When I saw the recording, I was in a space where it wasn't good for me to listen to audio files, so I hadn't listened to it yet, but now I totally need to listen to it. This is great stuff. Was it to pause what was going on so that way?
She was just sitting there dying because, like, in this game, if you're in like a snowy environment and you don't have sufficient warmth, then you lose a little bit of health every so often. And so she was just sitting there dying. And it's like literally all you have to do is just go to the home screen. Anyway.
Oh, Jonathan and Nemo and Patrick all thought that was Graham reading it.
No way.
And so it may have been Graham. That's amazing. And Jake, no, I'm not sitting here dying. I am sitting here living
Woo.
my best life.
Okay. I'm going to have this one be another firstborn.
I'm really bad at certain vocal memories. Like if I hear a voice, I can recognize it, but I have a hard time calling it to mind. And I have spoken with Graham. And so like I feel like I would recognize Graham's voice if I heard it. But also people can do voices, like kind of do funny things with their voice. So if they...
It's, Graham's voice is just like Jake's, but you have to set the dial from British to American and then increase the confidence level by 27%.
Oh, man.
All right.
So much love to Jake.
Okay, so let's enter this one into the spreadsheet. Who did you think it was, Jessie Garrard? Who did you think it was, just out of curiosity? Okay.
Beningus. Oh, I like that name, Beningus Kiki. Oh, this is good stuff. And oh my gosh, David, we're only 3 names away. Okay, but sorry, you're working on the spreadsheet, and I can't wait to hear about this cat.
Born to be a musician, Kiki fell in love with the percussive sound of her tail thumping against hollow surfaces. She innovated traditional cat drumming and created an entirely new and vibrant form of music and dance.
David, I don't...
Which others have called. I believe it's going to be Kiki.
Ooh.
I believe. I'm going to double check on
Um,
that. Yeah.
as you're typing that, I didn't know if anyone else has hiccuped. Like, my YouTube absolutely hung up there for a moment. So hopefully everyone heard all of that. Oh, and Mateus is just catching up with our second Miles. Yes, we do have 2 Mileses.
What? What?
Well, the Miles who just
Hey!
comment is not, the Miles of Let's Have a Booba. So we've got, Miles Hlab and Miles.
Nicely done, Jake. Let's see.
Aww.
Wow. I'll take that, Jessie.
Multi-Miles. What are you going to take?
Jessie says, my mind conjured up someone of the likes of Steve Toussaint or Jacob Anderson.
Jacob Anderson is the king of Dothraki, or High Valyrian.
Low Valyrian.
Low Valyrian.
Yeah, it is Kiki. Oh, Natalie.
Huh?
You were just sitting there and you were dying.
Huh?
You were just sitting there and you were dying.
Oh.
Because you're in snow. You were just progressively losing health standing there. So that was why I went back to the home screen for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I thought I paused it.
No.
Sorry.
All right.
If that happens again on stream, don't feel like you could just.
Oh, it's fine, Natalie. It's all...
I'm not going to just sit there and do nothing.
Our group knows we are easily distracted.
I'm the only one that's beaten the trolley problem.
But anyway, to answer Madeline's question, like Patrick said, the star ratings are for these characters in a board game. And that's what LangTime has been all about, has been creating languages for these animals that are a part of a much larger kingdom that will eventually be a board game. Well, it is a board game, but eventually be a board game that other people can, access and play.
Yeah.
And so David's been working a lot on it. And yeah, the star ratings, effectively, they're, basically power level, movement levels, like just their efficacy. There we go.
Efficacy.
I put the stress in the wrong syllable there at first, but that's what they go with. And yeah, it is so cool. All the changes. I am so excited to play the revamped version when David's ready for that.
It would have been really nice to have it ready for this trip so that like Jake and Bib could play again. And I think if there was both not the sickness and also the backlog of work, that could have happened in the time frame, but it was just impossible.
Well, I also feel like we'd have to check a bag if we packed a game.
No. Oh, and well.
I'm using your extra space that you're not using for clothes.
Do you want to check a bag?
If we're bringing the game, yes.
No, I mean, but anyway, by the way, something else I was toying with. So for those who've been following along, when I revamped the magic system, that was when I realized that the casters were not going to be using fire magic, except for the very highest level ones. And that the one that was the rabbit, who was studying with the cats, was not going to be sufficiently high level to use fire magic, and yet the class was called the Firepaw, which made no sense, so we had to change it. Jessie had produced this wonderful game that was kind of like a kid-friendly game using some of the stuff from our game that had the old word in it. And I have to tell you, I've been going back and rethinking this and thinking, well, what if I actually took it back and swapped all of the cat caster classes that are now aeromancers and swapped it with pyromancers. Changed the rabbit name back and changed it all out with the new way that magic is working.
Feels like a lot of work, and I
It
want you to
does.
remember that was just a fun little home game,
It does.
and we can
But-
write on those cards. We can change the name.
But sometimes
Put a
things
little
like
sticker.
sometimes things like that, cause you to think about things you hadn't considered and wouldn't
Okay.
have otherwise considered. It's a question of what would be gained and what lost, because I don't know. I always conceived of them using fire. That was what I was thinking of the whole way. It was just when the magic system was revamped and I realized that it wasn't going to be possible. It might make a lot more sense. What we're going to be losing is essentially the Aeromancer class is going to be able to do a lot of things to move people places, which in my mind is a more complicated game mechanic than something like a fire class, which is do damage to this thing.
Fireball.
Yeah.
Those fireballs were hard to counteract, though. I will tell you, on the receiving end of fireballs.
Yeah, but one thing that they would be losing is they would no longer be teleporting. Because that's something I want associated with the air class.
Gotcha.
And so that was, I know, a difficult mechanic to counter, especially since 3 of the casters had that ability.
Yeah.
I don't know, considering. Anyway, we used to have a catalog of LangTime episodes that told you approximately what happened in each one. I wish we were still keeping that up, because then, Madeline, we could tell you, go back to this episode where we describe everything. I do have a little intro video for the game. It's now outdated, but it'll give you an idea.
I will say I was the one doing that document.
No, somebody
Okay.
else did it. Somebody was watching. And they were doing all the chapter things.
They helped me. They helped me, and I copied
Yeah.
and pasted it in, but I was in charge of the document, and I was doing it all, and it was too much. And so I had to stop. And it was like no one person helping. It was, a lot of different people being like, hey, here was the thing from this week. And I went, thank you, and added it.
All right. Yeah. I wanted to jump really, really quickly to make sure I've got the right word for this. See our classes here. We have soft, hard, liquid, container, tool, abstract. Yeah, that's what I want. So it's going to be Kiki. It's going to be her style of music.
I like it.
I think I'm gonna add that so that we remember it.
I agree. Yeah. It's also always important to search your language document when you get a good idea for a new thing. And 'cause half of my page that I'm looking at as I take notes is X'd out because I had this idea for something to do in Swati and worked out this whole idea only to go into my document and realize I had already created a different form that covered the same function. It was already all there. So I crossed it all off.
Okay. Good. It's not quite 3, but we've done 2 names and done some pretty good ones. What do you think, Jess?
Time to celebrate.
Cheers. So we just learned that in a I want to say an overpriced bar, if I understood the chat right, that there is some sort of a cocktail that has, as part of it, crushed Copico candy on top in London.
It was a martini, right?
Sure.
Okay, anyway, go on.
I have no idea. I have no idea. Copico, when you have no idea, you always have Copico. It's a national chain. Oh, okay. Well, that explains that. Maybe something like Yard House. None in Southend, though. Not even one that's like, say, 95% as tall as the usual one.
Is that why you fit in so well?
Woo! I'll be right back.
Hey, David's leaving me. Go do something. What is a Wagamamas? Okay, ideas for our healers as we move into that portion. We have to lick. One concern I have, and this is, I'll raise this too when David's back here, is that we have a whole lot of K names. And that would be another K name. Ooh. We could maybe play around with the idea of basing it on the word for tongue instead, and that's a T word. And that would, I think
I'll be
help.
back.
Boy. David's over there saying words, making us not friendly for 18 and under, or under 18, whatever that rating is. Okay. K names are good. I agree. It's just there's a lot, because all of the first parts of the names are the same. The middle parts, come from the same 5 components. The middle parts all come from like the same 6 components. And so the final parts, it would be good to have a little bit more variety. We've got a Sumu and a Numu. Kali, Kelihimi, Karalo, and Kiki. I feel that it would be good. So I'm going to put in here ideas. Tongue is teke, I think is the full word for tongue. Yeah. It's also part of the K from Sarkezhe. That syllable comes from the root for tongue. So it's like, a very good root for there. How can we get booba? Good question. Definitely something. Wow, we have ba and be sounds. We don't even have any. So we'd have to have a bow after an O. So like bow. I'm on Sarkezhe, I think. Yes, okay, so I'm in Lexergy. What does just boba come out as? Boba comes out as booba. So we could have a protoform that's like boba. And that would be booba. It doesn't even have to have a W in it. Just B-O-B-A comes out as booba.
They're trying to get Kiki and Booba into this. Come on.
I was just seeing if booba was possible. It is.
It is.
But Dave, did you hear my suggestion to use tongue instead of lick?
I was thinking it could be incorporation because if it was somebody who licks a paw, it would be paw lick. Then it would start with a Y, I think,
Y.
right?
Or an S if you think it's their forepaw that they're licking.
Let's take a look. What's the proto, though, of that?
Proto is yar, and doesn't mean anything anymore in terms of.
What was the proto for Cern? I mean, torso. Oh,
Yar now means like to hand someone something.
yeah. But let's. I'm gonna put that into Lexergy just to see if there's any consonant. Oh man, keep having to reload Lexergy. To see if there's any consonant stuff that happens by putting the two together.
David, do you
It
want to
begins with
explain
K.
why Jake is curry shark while you're thinking about things?
It's a whole thing. So, one of the things that I'm hoping we can do on our return to England is to actually get in to see the Cutty Sark. And we were talking about this. Jake wanted to suggest that perhaps my nickname in school was Cutty Sark for my cutting sarcasm. But they wrote Curry Sark and then quickly edited it, but it was too late. I'd seen everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I said, now your new nickname will be Curry Shark.
You added the H.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. So it would be Yarker, 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 Yarker. Kind of a tough name.
Tough name, and definitely won't be fourth born if we use that. Yeah, hello, Sarkezhe.
You got a 2-star, a 3-star, and a 5-star.
Mm-hmm.
Yarker. Yuki with this Yarker. 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 Are they trills now or are they taps? Ker. Yarker. Oh, you know, it would be Yarkeri. Or wait, or is it Gere? Gere. Yarkere. Because of the naming.
Right.
Yeah. Yarkere. Yarkere. Yarkere.
Sounds like a warrior.
Yarkere. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Let's give it to the 3-star. They could be Yahongos because maybe that's what gave them the idea. I don't know. But like
How do you see their personality?
A little cat who's definitely dedicated to trying to help others, and is trying to learn. So this is perhaps the best student of the 5-star.
So I think we either go first, second, or third. Second is the B one, third is the mar one.
What's first?
First is the one that's based on stand. That one is the Rallon one.
Rallongos is first?
First, yeah.
Well, in that case,
I mean, the best student could be like a younger one too, because you know they work hard to rise up the ranks, and that would be based on key for fifth.
fifth sounds good. I was intending Kiki to be first, and so that's Ralongos. I'll fix that.
Yeah, it's the one that starts with a GH.
Okay. Here we go. Okay, all right. And so Binanges is second.
Yeah, and fifth was Kienges.
Let me see. Kienges. Well, there should be something easy in there to help break things up. Kienges it is. Let's see. That's the... Oh! It's an expansion one. Okay, that changes things a little bit, doesn't it? Let's see. Always eager to help others. Yeah, Gere. Stayed behind during the first battles to tend to the wounded at home. Now pressed into service. Will as teacher and idol, and then we need to name that cat in order to fill that in. All right. By the way, I can also fill these in over here. Yachgere is... Oh, whoops.
What'd you do?
No, nothing. Just goofing. There we go.
I'm running low on ideas for the other two names, and then the ideas I did have, both of them are Ys. So just when I was like, we have a lot of K names, let's, maybe branch.
All right, let's take a look.
To hug is yeah, and to grow or to sprout is yik, which is cute because it's yake.
Let's see what we got. All right, we've got an A. We have okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 Ks. We have 4 Ks, and it looks like one of everything else. BIMDYSA.
Okay, so another
And N.
idea is the root is ASH-LM. It came out though as just a long and it means to rest or to sun, to relax, and I feel like that would be a good peaceful quality to have in someone who ends up being a bard.
Healer.
A healer, I mean. Healer. Said the wrong word.
Okay. I'm looking this up. Where is this? To rest.
Yeah, to rest, to sun, to relax.
Oh my. Do we have a word for long as in long time?
I don't think so.
Let's see what would happen first. Oh my gosh, LangTime just keeps resetting every time I go to it.
LangTime seems to be working for me, but Pages isn't working for me, so.
Wow. Okay, so you know how the root comes out as eh? If you put the suffix after it, because remember we put this name suffix after it, everything comes back. It's alme. Alme.
I love it.
Alme, yeah.
I love it.
Anyway, I was thinking, like, if we, for long rest, because we can drop an adverb before. Either that or just leave it with alme.
I like Alme. I like the sound of it. Yeah.
All right, I think that's going to be the 2-star. And I don't think it should be first. What do we not have a lot of? Let's have second. Binangas.
Okay.
And so this one, much happier resting in a pool of sunlight rather than doing work. May reluctantly joins her teacher heading into battle to do what she must. All right, last one.
Okay, I'm going to throw out 2 suggestions. I'm not done scrolling. One suggestion is building it off of son, which means to draw, as in like to draw water from a well, and it's actually the root we use for performing magic. And so like the parents had they were like, this is the cat. We sense the magic in the cat. And so used like sun is the root. So, we get a lot of words with magic based on this root. So that's one idea. Another idea is rulu means to be happy, which I think is cute. I'm still scrolling, just trying to get ideas based on...
I like your original idea. This is the 5-star healer, so one of the best, one of the 2 best for the cats. I really like this idea. Yeah. I think we should start there. That should be where she should start.
Okay.
Filling in. God. All right, I'm just filling in other names on the other spreadsheet because they haven't been done.
We don't even have swim in the lexicon yet, but Jake had a fun idea for something built on to swim as to name a brave little kitty who honors their ancestors. Oh, bye, George. Glad you were able to stop in while you could.
Later, George. All right, so are you at that root?
Yes.
Okay. That's actually perfect. Oh my gosh, 500 error on Sarkezhe now.
goodness. Right, Miles. So it's clan, which is one of 5,
Lontano.
birth order, which is also fairly limited, and then personal name.
I got it.
Oh my god, I'm so excited to see it.
Yeah. Lontano.
Love it. What is the long?
Long is deep.
Nice.
Draws deep. And it's a kind of an oblique reference to David Lynch, season 3. This is the water, this is the well. Drink deep. Truly terrifying scene. All
And
right.
our only L name.
Excellent. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Let's take a look at all of the birth orders and just see what has been used the least. Aside from the orphan one, the birth order unknown one. This one.
Oh wait, of course that one's the unknown. I was like, hey, this one.
Arranges. Arranges. What's that mean?
That's like 6th.
Dang, really?
Yeah, I think that's why it was only used once. Yeah, that one's 6th. There's 2 5s, the key form.
It's 3rd.
2 of the Ralongos. So those are tied. There were 3 Marongos, so that's higher.
There should be another firstborn.
There's 2 of those.
Yeah.
So it looks like most of them have 2 except for our...
Bisexual languages.
Oh, you were saying bisexual languages. Stay grammar.
Okay.
Now you type this up and put the name into the other cell for the 3-star, because that's the teacher.
Yeah.
And we have just finished the names of the cats.
Yes, we have.
Holy cow,
Okay.
feels wrong. Holy meow. What a journey.
All right. What is... Okay. Born or full moon.
Miles, why do you have a pitch black drive?
6:13 p.m.
Man.
School. And Sano became a master of light magic. He takes as his personal mission the preservation of the cat kingdom and its traditions. Tradition.
Ooh. Miles is carpooling but not driving, so can enjoy the show.
Oh, we've got another variable in here that can be filled in very easily because it's the mouse engineer.
And Mateus, that was one thing, because like when you study geography and learn, like I could look at a map of Europe and name the countries and stuff, but one thing that didn't really settle in my mind was latitude wise where countries were located relative to, say, areas that I'm familiar with in the United States. And so I will tell you, I was incredibly surprised my only year, the year I lived in Germany, when winter hit and it got dark at like 3:30 or 4, and I was like, what the heck? Because, it's like I had, of course, experienced winter at different latitudes in the U.S., but nothing quite that far north before in my life, since I have experienced others, but that was new for me, and that's when I figured out just how far north Germany actually is. And it kind of boggled my mind, but the way weather patterns work in Europe, the same latitude of northness does not correlate to the kind of weather we expect at that same latitude in the United States, just because the way the winds and global things go. So yeah, that was crazy. And also, hello, Bib. Bibleridian is here. Woo!
Bibleridian has announced his presence. You know what that means. Everybody on your best behavior. We will not have any foolishness or shenanigans while Bibleridian is present.
Did you finish what you were working on?
I did.
David, sir. Yay!
Yes. That means we only have one of the original 5 to get through. And honestly, it couldn't be at a better time. Let's spend the rest of this time kind of reacquainting ourselves with the dogs as we get ready to create our first daughter language, which will be from the proto-dog language, the fox language.
Yeah, it actually just opened up wolf because I was like, oh my, I don't remember. And we have right away this whole list of orange, but it looks like, okay, we filled those out. But it looks like we may have some words or something to fill out. Did we actually enter squirrel? Yeah, we actually entered. So I don't know why these are up here at top. I don't fully understand, but I'm not going to leave things until I know the document better again. But I too thought that was a really good place for us to start. It's just remembering how the language works. If we remember well enough as we move forward, we can start brainstorming ideas for how they're going to name themselves. But yeah, very important for us to know how this language works, not only for this, but for the upcoming season.
So let's recall that Halkov is an analytic language, and it has consonant mutations. These consonant mutations are triggered by a series of prepositions, and these prepositions are assigned based on kind of like the, I guess the screeve, really, yeah? Is the best way to put it.
The screeve?
The prepositions have different meanings depending on the type of phrase.
Yeah, but what is that word?
It comes from Georgian grammar.
Screeve?
Yeah. And it actually
How do you spell it?
Screeve in English.
Oh.
But it actually comes from a native Georgian word. All it means is row. And it's something that sounds very mysterious unless you know anything about historical linguistics. And what you can see is that essentially case assignment is tied to the specific tense aspect combinations that are associated with very specific older auxiliaries, you know? And so it's like, oh, well, that makes sense why all of these tenses have case assignment like this, because it was this original auxiliary that was triggering that case assignment. And so, like, it's split ergative, but not by tense or aspect, but by screeve.
Okay. And recently I'd seen people discussing this on Discord, and I'm going to say this. I had looked up screeve as David was talking because I also just wanted to, like, remember to pull it up and read more about it because that's something interesting that
It's Screevy. Bibleridian's got it there.
Yeah, that I wanted to remember to look more about. And when I looked, I had several options to choose from for which article to pull up. And out of all of the very academic ones and Wikipedia, I chose Wikipedia because that's where I like to start, because quite often they're written in a way that is more user-friendly, and I can always double-check and fact-check anything that I find suspicious, and I can look at the sources on the Wikipedia page. And I'm saying this out loud because recently on Discord there had been a discussion where it's like, all these people are like, I was inspired after reading this super scholarly thing, and I want to tell you, I get inspired by Wikipedia quite often. And Wiktionary. Wiktionary is one of my favorite websites. And of course, I do like to double-check and make sure I'm looking at good information, but I find a lot of scholarly information so dense that I very much have to be in the mood to read it, and even then sometimes it doesn't fully help unless it's a grammar of a specific language where I'm looking at specific features, and then it can be very enlightening. So anyway, I just wanted to point out, here I am, linguistic scholar, Dr. Jessie, looking at Wikipedia.
Hey, just a random thing. I happen to be in the demonstrative section where we have these 4 demonstratives. 2 of them, or each of them have a protoform associated with them. 2 of them have meanings. 2 of them do not.
That's because they were proto-demonstratives. And so like that is their protoform and their proto-meaning. We had decided to have...
Well, it's the only place that they're listed in the entire document.
Do you see the footnote? The inanimate demonstrative forms are old protoforms with no other meaning attached to them. They simply are.
And those are both inanimate. So let's go ahead and do this and that.
Tinguish, I totally understand. Like, if you glance through an article and you're looking at, like, the actual, like, figures and illustrations that they use, and if they absolutely make no sense to you, I'm going to tell you that probably the words around them aren't going to make a lot of sense either. Like, I found that people who can't show visual representations of things also are not very clear on written representations of those same things. But I also shake my head at academics who feel like they need to spice things up with 3 paragraphs when a sentence would have said what they needed to.
Reminding everybody of this. Thus saith the dog in red, Jessephes 8:21, and then we have a picture of the side by side.
Oh my God!
I'm going to assume
with
that,
Ruger.
Yeah, Ruger's in there driving.
Ruger in the driver's seat. That's amazing. Love it.
Let's zoom in a little bit so people can see it.
Can see the Ruger.
Here's that pup. All right. Let's quickly. We don't have a section on names yet.
No.
We do have a word for name. It's kind of cool. But we should get to a section on name because, of course, the very first and most important thing that's going to be a part of every name is going to be the dog clan.
Oh, and there's going to be a lot, aren't there?
There was the original, and then, of course, the fox were one of the ones that broke away. But they broke away the latest. So if wolves and coyotes feature in this in our universe, they will have broke away before.
That's right. That Tinguish, I love your description there. And you've Yeah, it is an amazing resource. Wiktionary, that is. So yes, Miles, the proto-language that we're going to be working with for the foxes is going to be the same as the proto-language for the dogs, but we're going to be, changing it up, different sound changes and different paths of development in terms of semantics. And I don't know how much of the grammar we're going to keep or how much of the grammar we're going to shift as those changes are enacted. But yeah, very exciting.
In Hauhoff, dogs first organize themselves by their old clans. And I know that we wrote this down. It'll serve to repeat them here, but
It's not written here.
shoot. Because we did this whole thing, remember, with it was like work dogs versus toy dogs, remember?
Yeah, I do.
Shoot. Where did we write this? Like, does anybody remember it was here? Dark Horse, were you here? We put so much work into this.
I remember writing a notebook. I can go dig out my old notebooks. I don't know if it became a post on Patreon.
Because it has to do, not that it has to do with, but their flag derives from this. So, Savala flags. The dogs have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8. There should be 8 dog clans, and then the fox clan. The original shape was derived from the same shape that's on the dog clan stars. Like they were the separate ones, but then it's just them by themselves. Man.
I will let you know if I find what I think I'm looking for, if you want to keep. But also, I know I had written it down. I got to figure out which notebook I was using at the time we did that.
Here we go. Gun dog group, hound group, pastoral group, terrier group, toy group, utility group, working group. That's 7. 1, 2,
Where?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I just found this randomly Googling, but I know that this is what we used. Now that's only 7 though. Maybe this is on Wikipedia.
Okay. So
Maybe dog type.
I know that we need to figure this out for clan stuff, but what else were you thinking about for the names while
Oh, I don't know. It's an isolating language, so you can do just about anything. It can be easy, you know. Have a name that means like, you know, likes hunts, likes to hunt, you know, run fast, things like that.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm on this now.
Yeah. Which I promise you, though, I know it is written down. I don't know why it wouldn't have made it here.
This is just breeds.
But this is going to be really uninteresting airtime while we search.
Well, it wouldn't be if some of these viewers would pull their weight and remember.
Because it's obviously on them to know our languages.
Don't think I forgot that none of them have submitted their essays. The portal wasn't up. They should have found a way to email us.
Sad reality is that there are a whole lot of professors who think that way. Well, you should have figured it out. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what else to search for. So, we Oh, Miles, I'm bless you, because I too have worked with professors on creating courses and online elements, and let me say, professors are not always the best students, and so I say more patience to you, and thank you muchly.
I think that this is the book that I was using when we were doing Halkoff. And so I might have written it down. And the thing is, like, that 7 feels super familiar, and I don't remember if we found a way to take one of those 7 groups and split them in 2, or if we retained one of them for the foxes. So let me make sure that. Okay, yeah. Oh, oops, it's the wrong one. Sniff affects state. Paw affects place. That feels like a Halkoff thing.
It sure does. It says, We'll say one thing I can clean up is I seem to have a lot of resources twice. I need to clean up my computer. So I'm searching for anything that may have these phrases we were looking for.
All right, here we go. I know that I'm close because this is Halkoff orthography
Yes.
work. So that is towards the end. It should have been before that.
Ooh, Jake, yay, relay instructions. And Miles, I remember because when I did, there was like a special training you had to go through before you could teach an online course. And the first like 5 modules, which I was able to thankfully test out of, were literally things like put a document on your desktop, open the document, rename the document. And like the number of people who around me were like, wait, what did we just have to do? I was like, how the heck are you even operating at a university level, much less wanting to teach online if you don't know how to do these things on your computer? It was, whew. And Nemo, you're absolutely right. You found it. Yay!
Found it.
But Nemo, you're absolutely right. And in fact, I have in my experience found that the better the researcher by academic standards, the worse the teacher. 'Cause there's a lot of really solid researchers there writing grants and doing really huge studies, but in the classroom it's like,
There was there was a professor I had whom, I won't name this professor, a fantastic linguist, was giving us a course on, not saying too much. Anyway.
yeah, a course on something.
Yeah. Anyway, but regarding being a teaching linguist, they said, like, in terms of your own work, your own career, like if you have a free hour, and you can spend an hour working on, your lectures for teaching an undergraduate course, or an hour working on your research, you should spend that hour working on your research, because ultimately your teaching is not going to be worth it for your career. It's not going to advance you. So you essentially need to spend as little time working on your actual teaching as you have to.
And I gotta say, the sad reality of that is, not only is that what you see and hear at R1 institutions or those like top tier research, but even universities that are known as teaching universities, where it's like you have people who are there to teach a very heavy teaching load, and so they have very little extra time because their entire workload is classes.
Yeah.
Still, to move up the ranks for like tenure and promotion, it's all about your research. They don't care at all about your teaching. And it's so sad to me, because it's like they, to the point where they counted textbooks as a lesser publication than, an academic research thing. Because that's, textbook is really just teaching preparation. And so if you write a whole textbook, it's like, eh.
Yeah.
And it's so sad to me, because I 100% am a teacher through and through, and the way I write and the way I present information is geared towards teaching, and I have very little interest in ever engaging in the research side ever again, beyond what I had to do for a dissertation and whatnot. And of course I had some publications after that, but where I actually get joy is if I'm sitting down and thinking about a student on the other end of this trying to learn something.
But those clans, let's make a note here, were organized based on older groupings that arose due to human breeding traditions. Mm-hmm. Without the humans there, these dogs naturally sought each other out, even though the old the reasons for these breeding groups to exist are no longer relevant. Or how about the reason for these breeding groups no longer existed? Those groups are. All right. And now here, to fill in later, need whatever the translations for these things are. And then a small description, but also the types of dogs that are a part of this group. And so this might represent, I think, more work ultimately than the names are going to represent.
Yeah.
Because with an analytic language, like, you can just come up with a description that more or less, just works.
Compounds or whatever, and
yeah.
It becomes a big unit.
Yeah. Theoretically, this could represent anywhere from 1 to 8, or 2 to 8 different languages that started when they came together and pooled their resources.
As a side note, my brain went another direction thinking. So Jonathan had mentioned that they were working with someone who didn't know the term right click, and so had no idea what to do with that, where it was what does it mean, right click on something? And then suddenly I'm thinking the number of people who don't have any sort of mouse device, and so who no longer right click or left click on something, but say use 2 fingers. I wonder if double click is going to take a different meaning, where the double, triple click versus a double click, or if something else is going to replace that, or if we're going to continue calling it right click, despite the fact that very few people that I know actually have a right clicker.
I mean,
This is fascinating.
the right side of my trackpad is a right click.
I know, and it throws me off, babe. Because I don't expect it. Or when I'm trying to right click on something and I'm like, no, I can't do it. Yes, I know. Well.
I have a feeling
Looks like someone else needs to wash their hoodie too.
Yeah,
I leaned on something.
I have a feeling that as long as computer gaming exists, that the right click is going to be relevant.
If you have a trackpad, you can actually design how you want your right click to work, and so it doesn't have to be an actual button on the right side of anything. It could be a gesture, it could be a swipe, it could be a side of the trackpad. But for me, it's if I click with 1 finger, that's a left click. If I click with 2 fingers on the trackpad, it's a right click. And so, yeah. And David does it more traditionally, where it's the side that you click on that matters. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Quick tap or quap.
Anywho, just an interesting thought, where it's we still say roll down your window despite the fact that you're no longer doing a rolling motion. You're right, Jonathan. It's I think impossible in the way we do things, unless we call one a 2-click and the other a double click. But yeah, it's different. Oh yeah, hang up the phone is another good one. Yeah, we don't hang it, but we sure do say it.
All right, so I had thought that all of the I'd imagined that all of the dog tanks would be Scotty dogs, because I really liked this. One of the dogs that I guess it was my grandmother had was a black Scottish Terrier named Dinky. It was a very early dog. Say 80, 82 around then, 83. We do have a word for sniff. All right. Sniff is fuff.
Yeah, Jonathan, I think early dog just meant early in David's life, is what he meant by that.
So.
Oh, bye, Miles.
You should set up a whole thing the way that you do, with all the names and stuff. But I was thinking. So let me see how many. Yeah. We just have the one in the base. But I was thinking his name could be Fafrois, which is sniff dig. In other words, he's an investigative little dog who goes around sniffing, and then when he finds something, digs, because he likes to get into things.
I feel like to do this, I'm just going to pop it here. Can you go into the list and tell me what we're dealing with?
Ooh. Hold on a sec. I. Wow. That is a long preposition. Just 1 second. I want to. What's our genitival preposition?
I thought we had a couple different of them. Oh my god.
Or I.
I was avoiding setting up this list because I can't see the emojis. I may have to just quit Pages.
Oh, right.
I wanted to remind myself what I had open in Pages. So when I quit it, it's all gonna go. Ay.
Yeah, he'll follow. Okay. All right. And then was going to be, I think all of them are going to be like from, something from the clan. And that'll be if what follows starts with a consonant. So it shouldn't be hard to create 8 clan names that start with a consonant. Because if it doesn't start with a consonant, it's I. Mm-hmm. I don't think that works as well. Ayana.
Okay, quitting Pages worked.
Uh-huh.
But now I gotta get things open again that I needed for this. I'll get other things open later. Okay. Now I'm ready for the character names. David, I'm ready for you to tell me how many of each we have.
Yes. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, and I'm just kind of pulling up the, I don't know why it always inserts 2. I don't need to. Pulling up these symbols just so I have them up here to copy. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so we have, and we're doing expansion together, right?
Yeah.
We have 2 tanks. Tier 2 and Tier 3. Female and male.
Okay. And then female is Tier 2?
Yeah.
And male is Tier 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think Fafwa should be the male one. Then the female one could be like Tina. Because Tina was another dog.
Aw.
I believe it was a white Scotty dog. Or terrier. Anyway, okay, so 3 healers.
Okay.
Tier 1 male. And then tiers 3 and 4 female.
Three and 4.
Yeah.
All right, those are the healers. Okay.
1 archer, male tier 4.
Oops. Okay.
1 rogue, male tier 3.
Okay.
3 warriors.
Okay.
Tier 2 male.
Got it.
Tiers 4 and 5 female.
Okay.
Two soldiers.
Okay.
Tier 1 female. Tier 5 male.
Tier 5. Okay.
One oh I'm sorry, there were 3 soldiers. There's also a tier 2 female.
Got it.
That's an expansion.
Okay.
And then 1 expansion tier 1 bard male.
I think that's because I begged you to make a bard. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's all of them. All right, so we've got that list going. Get rid of that. That was just there for me to copy and paste. All right, we're set up.
All right.
And so you had the 2 Tink names, yeah? Well, I mean, other than the
Well,
fact
just
that we
one.
don't have clans. Well, I thought you were going to try to get Tina somehow in there.
Let's put YYY for clan name. And I want to make sure that there's no consonantal shenanigans.
Consonantal. Just said I'd give you another pronunciation.
The consonantal. The consonantal. Do we have the? Is it? It's not hua. It's hua. What was the protoform of that? It is
What?
hui. Okay, no. So yeah, fafhua. Fafhua. That's a great one.
That is a really cute name.
And I don't know. I'm on the fence about making these single words or multi-word expressions. What do you think?
For the names?
Yeah.
Because that one was pushed together. If it weren't pushed together, it would be too different.
Yeah, just
Buff and then hua.
like I mean, because you know, it's an isolating language, so it's just should it be pushed together as a single name or should it just be a 2-word name? Fafhua. Hyphenated. I don't know.
I feel like their job titles, the titles we gave them were presented as compounds pushed together.
Wait, hold on. Some of them were, some of them weren't.
And so I feel like we should kind of honor.
It's kind of a mix. So we have Gwende and Gwende al, but
Okay.
and so that's and like Fuchte and Fuchte al. But then others of them like Fuchte, that's clearly a compound.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
So I think what that means is we have the leave to create what would be considered a compound and therefore would affect the phonology internally versus what's going to be considered separate units. And I think that's why like al is kept separate, because that's actually the augmentative, isn't it?
I was just trying to remember that. No, it means fresh. It's an adjective that means
Okay.
fresh or young one. I'm also thinking about if somebody wants to use the name honoring somebody else, they might use al, but then what if there's more than one? They could use something like the second or the third. We haven't done numbers in this. We have it all planned out, like what we're going to do with numbers, but we haven't actually done numbers.
Also, we have a lot of charts in here that either need to go or we should consider filling them out. A lot of charts are in here from the template, and like,
the
not
adjectives.
at all are adjectives and the verbs.
No.
Are those ours?
Yeah. Oh, the green ones.
Yeah.
Right.
The purple one is ours.
Yeah. It's because
But-
there's like no inflection in this.
Right. So it's just like we need to clean up the document to match. But I'm like terrified
Yeah.
of taking things out. And
No, and we do have a whole section on comparison. Regular. Dobram I uf. The dog is big. Tochval. Bram I uf. Wachwav. So it's on the verb? Tochval. A comparative suffix that attaches to the verb. It can turn any verb into a comparative form of that verb, which means to X more.
Yeah, it bigs
Wow.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, so this isn't... Yeah, so that's not... doesn't even... Doesn't even attach to the adjective. I mean, there are probably going to be adjectival derivations, but whatever. We'll come to those when we come to them. Delete! It's deleted.
We have a template we can copy those from if we need to reinsert those charts.
Yeah. Got my low power battery warning from the Mac, but worry not. We only have 3 minutes left.
Well, I am over here dancing. I'm not sure I'm going to make it to the end. Had a whole kombucha. I've been drinking water.
We only got 3.
3 minutes. But sometimes the boat sinks inside of shore. Is that how it goes, Mateus?
Oh, that was such a good one.
Or inside of the port?
Inside of the harbor.
There we go. That's...
Yeah.
But yeah, we seem to have things that were considered compounds rather than grammatical pieces were pushed together, I think, in this language.
Do we have a word
Not
for...
all of them, I guess.
We
It
don't-
just seems interesting what gets pushed together, that's all.
We don't have a word for morning or dawn. I was thinking about for Tina, like, you know, a dog that's happy up and you know, yelping as soon as, like, even before dawn.
I like that. So I was looking... We have a lot of, like, I guess what becomes suffixes or prefixes. Interesting. But yeah, I think that we should definitely create a word for that.
I love the idea of ready, be like standing up, you know, at attention or something like that. Our word for to stand up is pretty long. Proto-root chwed, which becomes chwed. 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 It's so it's pretty long. What do you think about having a proto-root for dawn?
I think for dogs that would be...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and not just dogs. A lot of animals do have a very strong sense of like timing of the sun and feeling of, you know, it's time to get up or whatever, or go to sleep if you're nocturnal. Bye, other Miles. Or now the only Miles, because the other Miles left already.
Bye, only Miles.
I'm like absolutely in awe of our chart. I'm looking at our phonetic inventory and just absolutely like, what the heck did we do with sound changes? Because in the consonants of Halkov, everything's green, which means it's new. It wasn't in protoforms. Like, do you even understand how few consonants were in the protoforms? That can't be right. We had no S in the protoform?
Oh, yeah.
My word. Like, entire series. Anyway,
there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in this one.
I'm remembering nothing, obviously, and like, except I remember, to Bubba's chagrin, that Bubba stepped away from the computer and we killed all the uvulars, and Bubba came back to the computer and was like, what just happened?
Ah, yeah.
And
that
we
was
were
great.
like, hey. So yeah. I do not either, Jonathan, which is like, I was going to try to suggest some protoforms for David, and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking at, and I don't remember what changes may be affected by putting things together, and I'm sorry, I don't even know what to suggest.
Chasing Dawn. I like that idea.
That is really nice. We do have Chase.
Yeah. Hua. So Hua, and then something. Do we have a chart for our mutations?
There's a huge chart, a very colorful one.
A mutation. Nothing happens to M. Nothing happens to Ra.
Oh, Jake.
Who have I?
This is the type of inventory I would just never make. Outside of this.
What sounds prettier to you? Who have I, or who am I?
All right.
I think we've got
As much as I love my v sounds.
Oh, it's already the word for to lick. Dang.
Okay. Is vi anything? Because I do like vi.
No, it's not. What do you think?
Do it.
All
It's
right.
4:03. It's time to make a decision, stick to it, and get going.
All right. Oh wait, the whole point of that is I wanted to see how that was spelled. Lae. Okay.
This language is going to be a struggle for me to remember.
Dawn.
Poor Owen. I have a little stuffed otter named Owen, and we would never kick that little cute otter.
Yeah. All right, and now let me just go up to that.
Oh, you already entered on the English side. I was going to go do that for you.
Yeah. I like it. Look at that. We got 2 dog names. Well, half of them. We need to get those clan names.
That's going to be a big discussion, and
Sure
not
is.
for today.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here. David's in control of ending our stream today.
I sure am.
Stay grammar. We'll keep you updated on Discord for patrons, but for anyone who's not a patron, just expect us not to be here again until February. Once February,
Start of season 7.
once February hits, we will be in this document a lot to refresh ourselves, to create a new document for the Fox language. And so here we go. February is for foxes.
Stay grammar, everybody.